Welcome to Modern Day Abigails. 2 Corinthians 5:17 says, "Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. Old things have passed away. Behold, all things have become new." So let's listen to God's Word, where everyday lives transform and where we can become the women God created us to be.
So the Lord had a protection for them so that they would always have some food, right? Okay. So, and that's exactly what Ruth was about to do. She was going to go and she was going to find a field and she was going to glean it so that she could feed her and Naomi.
And then maybe have a little extra to sell to buy the things that they need to get, like material.
Sure. Does it say that?
Oh, I'm just making an assumption.
I think that's a great one.
Yeah, I'm making an assumption that it would be enough to eat and sell so they can get other things that they need.
Money.
Yeah, because there's other things they're going to need.
That's absolutely right. Okay, that's cool. Didn't even think, I wasn't thinking that far ahead.
Or trade. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, we're going to break down, we're going to do some flip sides here in a minute, 1.0 and 2.0, but we're going to read a little bit more first. Okay. So we're going to start in verse 3. So then she being Ruth, she left and went and gleaned in the field after the reapers. And she happened, love the word, happened, to come to the part of the field belonging to Boaz, who was of the family of Elimelech. Blah, blah, blah.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah. Now, behold, Boaz came from Bethlehem, and he said to the reapers, "Lord be with you." And they answered him, said, "Well, Lord bless you." And then Boaz said to his servants, "Who's in charge of the reapers?" Oh, no, start over. Boaz said to his servant who is in charge of the reapers, "Who's this young woman? Whose young woman is this?" So the servant, who was in charge of the reapers, answered her and said, "It is the young Moabite woman who came back with Naomi from the country of Moab. And she said, 'Please let me glean and gather after the reapers among the sheaves.' So she came and has continued from morning until now. She rested a little in the house." My reaction was, somebody has caught somebody else's attention.
Well, yeah, that's, yeah.
He's like, who's this? Who's that?
Yeah, and I got a few comments here in a minute. After you get through what you're saying, I got a few comments I want to make about Boaz.
Okay. After I get done with my little...
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, we're going to break this down a little bit, but we're not going to break it down too much, okay? Because it's going to spoil what's about to happen. All right. So what we see is that Naomi does have a relative left. His name is Boaz, and he is clearly a farmer because he owns the field that Ruth found to glean in. That was a coincidence.
I understand in the Hebrew language, I've been told this. I got to go and ask. I guess I need to go ask like Hava if it's true, but that there is no word for coincidence in the Hebrew language.
Okay, well, I'm the one saying it was a coincidence.
I don't think but it's not a coincidence. It's divine. No, it's divine.
And we talk about that, right?
Yep, we do.
Because there are, and like just one paragraph down, it says, we don't have, ladies, there is no such thing as coincidences. No. These are called divine interventions or divine opportunities.
Yes.
And they all come from one person.
Yes. We think that we go away because it's on our own, but we later we'll see that she didn't go there because she thought it was a great idea. The Lord led her there.
Yeah. The Lord's already put those puzzle pieces together. We're just following the right path.
He probably just guided her sweetly this way. Yeah, she might have meant to take a left, and he's just like swept her this way. Nope, you're going to the right.
Yep.
I did that once. I was at school and I was lost because I always was at the College of Technology. And so I had to go to this whole total different building. I'm like, I don't even know where I'm going. And finally I stopped and I said, "Lord, could you walk your daughter to the class? Because she has no idea where she's going."
Right.
And I'm literally lost. I got there and I still couldn't tell you. It took me a while to figure out, okay, so the next day I go out there, I'm like, "Hey, Lord, you're going to have to tell me how to do this again."
Yeah.
You know,
I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So what we see is that in all the fields in Bethlehem, she just happened up on the one that was Naomi's relative, which Naomi did not tell her specifically, go out and look for this man's field. all she said when Ruth said that she was going to go and glean, she says, okay, bye. She didn't give her any specifics whatsoever. Okay. So,
bye. Have a good day, dear.
Right. So we're going to stop. We're not going to break anything else down right here. We're going to keep reading for just a little bit. And
if you don't mind, though, can I make a comment about Boaz?
Oh, yeah,
okay.
that's right.
I'm looking at the way Boaz is. He respected them, the guys who worked for him, and they respected him. So we see a lot of respect in this book. And that's a big word today because a lot of people think you have to earn respect. And I don't agree with that. I have never seen in the scriptures where you earn respect, but I've seen in the scripture where you give respect.
I agree.
And so, because what could a servant do to necessarily earn respect from their master? Per se. All we know is this guy worked for Boaz and Boaz respects everybody. And then you can tell that Boaz knew this people and the people knew him. Why? Because he knew somebody was out there new. He looked and goes, hey, who is that? And now we don't read in the word that she was strikingly beautiful like Abigail or Esther. We don't read anything other than he was like, hey, who's that? So did he see something different in her? Or is it because he is so used to knowing everybody around because he's so involved that he's like, hey, she sticks out. What's up with her?
Yeah,
and
who's that?
Now, maybe she dressed differently because they were from the land of Moab. It's a possibility they dressed differently.
I mean, she did bring her clothes with her.
Exactly. Well, I hope so. Otherwise, she's traveling naked. So that would be awkward.
It would be.
So let's assume she had her Moabite clothes and did not switch to Jewish clothes.
Right.
And so,
for all we know, Naomi was also wearing Moabite. They've been there for 10 years.
That's true. Naomi might have been wearing Moab clothes. We don't know. I'm sure she sewed her own stuff, but the material might have been different. So,
sure.
But
different
the thing
coloring,
is,
whatever.
He went out. They all knew him. They said, hey, how's it going? What you up to? Hey, who's this? And the reason I really like this because Jesus cares about his people. Jesus cares and loves us. And in fact, he said that in John 10:27, my sheep hear my voice and I know them and they follow me. So we're seeing a really nice picture of Jesus here in Boaz. And then the other thing is we talked about this just briefly, just a moment. What did he see that was different? Did he see that she had a different clothing? Did he see that she acted different?
And we're going to talk about that.
Yeah, we are. And that's what I wanted to stop there and think about for us. As you read that, do people see something different in us? And they may not know why.
They're supposed to.
They're supposed to. They may not know why. But are you leading such an example? Are you being such an influence, a good influence, that people stop and go, she's different. Why is she different?
Right. Exactly. Okay. So we're going to start in verse 8. Okay. And it says, Then Boaz said to Ruth. So he's now approached her. He's now speaking directly to her. And I think it's about to get good.
But the interesting part is we don't know how much time was in between.
Okay,
because apparently we're going to see why in a minute.
Could have been the same day.
It could have been, but he obviously
It was the same day.
It was the same day, but apparently he did some research before he went and talked to her.
You're right. Okay. And so what I wrote down here is,
you want one?
Anna, get ready for your possible beloved love story.
Whatever.
We all know she hates that. So Anna got these new, what do I have here?
Yumster Yo bars.
Cookie dough. So I want the other one, the purple one.
You got cookie dough? Oh, you want Choco Brownie Cruise?
Yeah, because I already got cookie dough.
You got cookie dough swing?
All right, there we go.
Okay.
These are good.
I know. It's just 3 ingredients.
I mean, they're like, I didn't expect to like them. Anyway.
I'm slightly addicted.
Yeah, they're really yummy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let me start back over without my love story comments. Starting in 8. Then Boaz said to Ruth, "You will listen, my daughter, will you not? Now go to glean, and do not go to glean in another field, nor go from here, but stay close by my young women. Let your eyes be on the field which they reap, and go after them. Have I not commanded the young men not to touch you? And when you are thirsty, go to the vessels and drink from what the young men have drawn." So she fell on her face and she bowed down to the ground, and she said to him, Why have I found favor in your eyes, that you should take notice of me, since I am a foreigner? And Boaz said to her, It has been fully reported to me. That's it, Anna. He got a full report.
Yep.
It has been fully reported to me all that you have done for your mother-in-law since the death of your husband, and how you have left your father and your mother and the land of your birth, that you have come to a people whom you did not know before. The Lord repay your work, and full reward be given to you by the Lord God of Israel, whose wings you have come for, under whose wings you have come for refuge.
Easy for you to say, but I have to stop there. I just thought about something.
What
it says in Genesis. And God told Abram, I will bless those who bless you and curse those who curse you. And we see her Gentile being blessed because she's blessing the Jews.
Yep. We're going to talk about that too.
Nice. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. No. You didn't give anything away. I'm just saying good. Exactly. So, okay. So there is so much happening right now. And I hate to stop at this part when it's about to get good, but at some point in our lives, we got to start breaking this down. Okay, so version 1.0. Naomi and Ruth have no real home, no money, no provisions. They are literally just winging it, hoping and praying that Bethlehem will be a better situation than Moab was about to be. So at least here in Bethlehem, Naomi has friends and family that she wanted to try and count on. So what we see is Ruth is not wallowing in her bitterness. She is very proactive. I mean, don't get me wrong. I totally get Naomi and the state of mind that she's in right now, but so does Ruth. So she takes action. Pity party over for her. At this point, after their journey, they are probably very low on food. They're probably low on provisions, and she stepped up and she's doing what she can for them. But she might not fully understand God and how he works. Is my thought, because she just recently said, your God will be my God. So we can possibly assume that she's still pretty new at all of this. And we have zero idea if her husband was wishy-washy or if he was firm.
I think her husband was the name that meant sickly.
Yeah. And so I might personally assume that he was actually wishy-washy because, stay with me here, because Ruth didn't call God my God. She called him your God.
Yeah, but she did say, will be my God.
Yes, but where I'm going with this is, so I'm going on the assumption that she is still new about all of this and probably doesn't understand or recognize divine interventions and opportunities, because there is certainly one happening right now.
That's true.
And what I was thinking is, if she called God your God, then there's a real good possibility that God wasn't her God the whole time she was married.
That's true. And that
because she didn't know anything about
exactly,
it.
But she did say, will be my God, so that she had this hope.
Absolutely.
And that's going to be important as we watch, is that hope that they have.
Yes.
We're going to talk about faith at the end.
Yes. And we're going to watch this whole thing unfold. We're going to watch her faith unfold. Yes. Not necessarily in chapter 2, but this is the beginning of it right here.
And she's going to see this beautiful picture that we all need to see. But she gets to live the picture. We just get to watch it.
She does. Okay. So she caught Boaz's attention, and he had never seen her before, and she was probably beautiful, I'm guessing. And we don't know this, though. And he was like, whoa, who's this? But then, ladies, then he heard about who she was and what she had done, and that she left everything to follow Naomi, who happened, and he just happened to be.
We're going to put that in air quotes.
What?
Happened to be.
Yes, air quotes. Boaz Naomi just happened to be Boaz's close relative. So there's that. So Ruth won even more points with just that fact alone, that she was already now related.
And the neat thing is that he went from seeing her outward to seeing her character.
Exactly.
But I still think he really noticed her character. I bet she was working very differently, and he noticed that she was working. He knew she was a foreigner.
Yeah. Well,
but I think he saw her working differently, and then said, okay, when he asked, like, who is this woman? Well, apparently somewhere in between the conversation with that guy and the conversation with Ruth, he found out more about her.
Well, there's a different type of mentality when you're working out of desperation, which she was.
That's true.
Than when you're working just to work. This is where I'm going to work today. I gotta go gather some grain.
Yeah,
they're working to survive.
Yeah, and she's not working for herself. She's working to keep her mother-in-law.
That's right.
She's wanting to take care of her mother-in-law, and so she's working for the both of them.
There's a different mentality when you are in survival mode and desperate as opposed to when you are not. Yeah,
and that's true too. And I have seen people who are working for themselves versus working for others.
Not just working, but just even in general life.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Not just, you're right. Not just working, living for themselves or living for others.
Yeah. And so one thing that we do see is that Boaz saw her beauty, but he also saw her heart.
He saw that character, and I think he was very attracted to her character. Because why wasn't
very attracted?
And I guess we'll talk about it later. Why wasn't he married? Was he married and his wife died? Was he married or never married? And why not? Was he looking for a woman of a certain character and he hadn't found one yet?
Yeah, I don't think that he was ever married. I've never seen where he is, but we haven't made it that year. So maybe as we're studying. We'll, I've studied it before and I've never seen where he was married, but then again, maybe I missed the word, but we definitely know he didn't have other children. No, he didn't. And so what we see is after this one day, the tables are starting to turn for these two girls.
And him.
And him.
Think about it, starting for him too.
All three of them, they just don't know it yet. They don't, and Naomi doesn't know it yet, and we'll see why here in just a minute. Because right now, all we see is that Ruth and Boaz are talking.
Right.
She hadn't even made it home to give Naomi the scoop.
Nope, not yet. It's been a good day.
Yeah. Okay, but that's at the end. That's at the end of the chapter when we see all that take place. Okay, so let's flip to the 2.0 version. So what we see is God keeping his promise. And he is providing for the remnant. And the remnant in this story is Naomi. And the remnant is not completely wiped out. He gave them away. God gave them a way to survive and sustain by gleaning a field from a law that God created to help the poor and needy. And you know what? We are also poor and needy because if you don't know Jesus as your Savior, you are poor and needy. In fact, you're probably downright starving and dying, and you don't even know it. But he is our bread. He's our bread of life. He's our sustainer. We cannot live without him, not physically, not mentally, or spiritually. We are literally a functioning shell until we have him in our lives, and we don't even know it until we do.
Right. And then what I was going to say is there is a difference between those who are poor and needy, not willingly, but through circumstances, versus somebody who's poor and needy because they choose to be poor and needy.
Agree.
And God does make a very big discernment or distinction between those who are choosing to be poor and needy, and those are the ones who can physically work and go to work. Yes. Paul talks about that. If they don't work, they don't eat. But there's also Jesus talked about the true poor and needy who could not work. And widows were in that category. Widows were considered poor and needy because they weren't really able to work. So that's why God came up and said, hey, you're going to have grain and you're going to help people by having places for them to glean.
Right.
And so
to survive.
So not only there's a poor and needy spiritually, physically, but also spiritually. And I do have met people who are poor and needy spiritually because they choose to stay that way.
Agreed. Well, think about it. Everybody before they're a Christian, is poor and needy
in spirit,
and they don't even know it.
Yeah, and they have to make a choice. Yeah, and they have to make a choice. Some do, and they still make a choice.
I didn't.
Yeah. No, and then I didn't realize that
I didn't come from that kind of family.
No, but a lot of people don't realize it. But I have met people who do, and they still choose to walk in that spiritual poorness because they don't want to make a choice. They don't want to change.
I remember people trying to tell me about Jesus before I was saved, and I literally stopped hanging around them.
Yeah, well, I knew some that were trying to tell me about Jesus, but I'm like, I know him, I already know him. But what I knew of was the children's Bible version.
Yeah.
So I didn't truly know the real Jesus in the Bible because I hadn't actually read it because I'd only read the children's Bible. was a nice, big, thick, and
I'm sure it was beautifully illustrated.
It was beautifully illustrated.
Sure.
It was thick. How did I not? I didn't know. And so I lived my life thinking I read the Bible.
And you love color.
Yeah.
So, hey, it's
exactly.
a beautiful Bible.
And exactly. And I lived my life thinking I knew Jesus because I read a book one time. Okay. We cannot know Jesus by reading the Bible one time. We have got to constantly be in his word and constantly reading it because he's going to reveal himself as we grow, as we mature. He's going to reveal himself more and more and more.
Agreed. Because it's a relationship.
Yes, thank you. Lifelong relationship. Eternal relationship because it's eternity. And it's decide where we're going to spend our eternity. We're going to spend eternity somewhere. We get to choose where. Heaven or hell. Your choice.
Exactly. And another side note, circling back, the word is circumstance. I don't have to text you in the middle of the night. That was your circumstance.
Oh, yeah. That's a good word.
Started with the C.
It did.
Yeah.
That word didn't even dawn on me.
No. Anyway. Okay. So, I'm going to circle back. Sorry, I just took a bite, and so it's chewy.
Yeah, it's
probably picking
just,
up
it's
on
just
the
chocolate, unsweetened chocolate chip or cocoa, dates and almonds, and they're just
it's probably picking up on the mic. I'm sorry, Ray.
I'm not. It's our podcast.
Yeah,
we can eat if we want to.
That's right. We have made that very clear, but yet, poor thing, he's got to listen to it. Okay, so I'm going to circle back to broken hearts, okay? And it falls in what we were just talking about, how we're poor and needy, and we don't understand how he works or even who he is. And a lot of what holds us back is our broken hearts, because there are so many things in this world and in our daily lives, and then they break our heart. We don't just get one broken heart from a trauma. We may get hundreds of broken hearts, and then we get broken hearts all throughout our life because people may say something that hurts our feelings. Okay. May not be a big broken heart.
Right.
Might be a little bitty broken heart depending on who said it.
Right. And the thing is don't start counting broken hearts.
We may have lost an animal. Yeah. That's a broken heart.
And
it breaks our heart.
Yeah. And for some people, they can go in a situation and it doesn't break their heart. Other people go in the situation and it does break their heart. So let's not count broken hearts and think, anything that, why does one have a whole bunch? And one person might look at the situation and go, why did that break your heart? Hey, some are more tender than others. We're all different. Don't count broken hearts to see who has more, who has less, who's stronger, who's not. We're all in a different place.
There might have been some previous trauma that triggered that broken heart that the other person didn't have to go through.
Exactly. So that's why we're saying is we're all going to be at different levels and different spectrums. Don't try to have a contest or anything.
Yeah. Listen, your broken hearts are your broken hearts.
And don't make fun of somebody else's just because you're like, why did that break your heart?
Yeah.
Hey, some of us are more sensitive.
The same thing to you. Well, why did that break your heart?
Exactly. I was a very sensitive child. I was very sensitive. Everything. I didn't want to get in trouble.
Yeah,
we don't know why.
Very messed up. I mean,
I was just anything could hurt my feelings because I was just sensitive. Why? Right? I don't know. Maybe because but that might be why I have so much compassion nowadays. I mean, it doesn't take much for me to sit there and cry with somebody in a situation I've never been in.
And going through what I went through, you would think that I had more empathy. I have empathy. I mean, my heart breaks for women, but sometimes there comes a time where my empathy, it stops.
And I feel
I don't have any more
empathy
and sometimes for that particular thing.
I feel everybody's pain. I'm like, I feel their pain. I think it's sometimes on some people, I probably feel their pain worse than they do. And then they're looking at me like, what is your... I'm like, I'm feeling your pain.
You because there are times where I'll get a call from you where you're really upset about something that happened to me, and I haven't given it a second thought.
I'm so upset for you. I'm just holding it on for you, Joanna. What can I say?
And that actually happens often, and it makes me laugh. I do feel compassion for you.
Thanks.
But on the inside, it does make me laugh because I'm like, oh my goodness. Because I don't have that. I'm just like, okay. I mean, I do feel there's things that happen, like if you and I are talking about a situation that maybe had a really bad day. I feel it.
Right.
I'm not going to say that I don't feel it. I really do.
Yeah.
I feel it and I pray about it and I pray over you and it breaks my heart and I want to go to your work and I want to hurt somebody. But
some of it was so long ago, you can't even find the people that did it. But no, and that's how we're different. That's how we work together. And that's what I'm trying to say, ladies, when it comes to the broken heart things, some are more tenderhearted and the Lord has a purpose In fact, Ray, we were at a funeral not long ago. I didn't even know who this person was. I never met them before, but my God, they needed a hug. I'm like, do you need a hug? And they just wrap themselves around me. Yeah. And I'm like, and Ray's like, wow, that was really good for you. And I'm like, I was hurting for her. I mean, I just had so much pain.
I saw you give a hug to a fairly new church member the other day, and I just stood there and I dead stopped. You don't even know this because you weren't facing me, but I dead stopped and I folded my arms and I was just stanced right there, and I was just watching, and I was like, her broken heart is in the process of being healed right now.
Yeah,
and I was getting teared up. I don't even know what was going on, but I was getting teared up because I was literally watching the Lord heal you right in front of my very eyes. I had to because
they needed a hug, and that's all they needed.
When I first met you, that would never ever have happened.
I would have pat you on the back.
Yeah, maybe from a length, arm length.
On the side hug. I would have pat you on the side because I needed to. I would have broken. Part of that, though, is helpful is when Ray stands there. I'm a lot stronger when he's there.
Yeah, Ray was not there.
Oh, on that one, no, but on the other one is because Ray was standing beside me, so I'm a lot.
Well, you didn't even know that person. The other girl,
I did, but I'm a lot braver when Ray's around. I'm a lot braver because I know that he's going to protect me if I'm in a vulnerable position. Putting myself out there, he's going to protect me.
Yeah, and he is. He is. Okay, so all right, so. For our broken hearts, they range from big to huge to small to medium. Sometimes they're in dust. Our hearts are so broken. They're in not only big chunks, but maybe dust, and it just, you're shattered. But you know what, ladies? Jesus, he came down to earth to heal that, to purposely heal our brokenness. Gentile or Jew, it doesn't matter. We all have brokenness in various forms, and Jesus is all about that. He's all about healing us inside and out and turning us back to Him or turning us to Him for the first time.
Luke 4:18, ladies, if you want to look it up, it's in Luke 4:18. If you have an NIV, you will not find it.
Or several other versions.
There's several other versions that will not have it, but I can attest that the New King James Version does have it. I think I've heard somebody said that the NSAB has it too. I'm not sure, but I do know the New King James Version has it. So if you have to, you can go to Blue Letter Bible, you can go to Bible Gateway, look up Luke 4:18, and you will see how Jesus said, I came to heal the brokenhearted, to set the captives free.
Right?
He wants to set you free, ladies. He really wants to set you free. Indeed. What is wrong with the door?
There's somebody's jamming outside. You don't hear it?
Oh, no.
Oh, it's echoing right past the thing, so it might be picking
it's
up
because
on
you're by
mic.
the door.
Yeah. I mean, they're just getting it, girl.
Yeah, we have an interesting parking lot. It's a great place to be. We love where our church is. The Lord put us here to be a light and salt in a dark area.
Yeah.
And so we do have quite a few colorful people. And I'm not talking about literal color. I'm talking about, somebody could take that totally wrong because that's not what I meant. You know what I meant because I love box of crayons.
All different types.
All different types of attributes.
Yeah. Characteristics and situations. And anyway, we've had a lot happen through these doors.
Yeah. We've met some really interesting people. Some were like great and some were like, wow.
It has nothing to do with skin color. Well, we have color of all sorts in here.
We are such a diverse church.
Yeah,
we have people from all over.
We
and
love it.
We love it, and we keep
all
praying
over
for
the
more.
world and all over colors.
Yeah.
And all over languages. And, And
I always tell people here, like, look, if you have a different language you want to pray in, please pray in your native tongue if it makes you more comfortable. And they do. I love it.
It's awesome.
Thank you for letting us share our tools to become the women God created us to be. If we encouraged you today, visit us at moderndayabigails.com. Remember, you are loved, cherished, and prayed over.